Hello everybody, Nika here with your daily neuro nuggets. I hope you're having a beautiful Friday. I am ecstatic, I am glowing. It's a good day, the weather is gorgeous, and why not start the video on a good note when we know we are eventually going to get into the cold, hard, dark realities of this world in this case, but let's stay positive nonetheless. So before we get started, I wanted to thank all of you because we have reached $226 through Cash App donations for my favorite veteran, Craig, because we are trying to buy him a $600 oxygen compressor. So my goal and all our goal is to raise $500, and then I will pay the extra $100+, of course, with tax and shipping and everything. So the goal is 500 and we're almost halfway there. So that's pretty amazing. That just goes to show you that there's a lot of good people in this channel watching, donating. Thank you guys for doing that. So I also have this beautiful reishi tea. So one of my colleagues just returned from China, brought me this tea, and it is very earthy, slightly bitter, and you do have to simmer this for about 2 hours. So it's worth it because this is a very well-known adaptogenic herb, which means that it basically helps your body adapt to stress, anxiety, trauma, fatigue, and with the daily hustle and bustle of life, I mean, who doesn't need a little help, right? So this bitterness for some people can be too much. So if you would like to make it a little bit more palatable, you can add a touch of ginger or cinnamon. So if you have ever had this tea before, let me know down in the comments. So cheers. Very good. I really like that. Really like that tea. Now today, I'm going to be talking about a topic I really don't like to talk about. Why? Because it's the family, the parents of these victims. People who are still mourning, who are still healing, who are still suffering, who are still visibly in pain. And it's very easy for us outsiders to jump to conclusions, but we have to remember it is so important to try to be empathetic, because a lot of people in that situation, they just want to heal. They just want to get this done and over with. They're not thinking, they just want somebody in jail. And I watched an interview today with Steve Goncalves and Ashley Banfield. Ugh. Now, it was very telling, in my opinion, on how Steve Goncalves is processing everything still to this day. He is in pain, my friend. So please, please remember that, because if I were to lose a child today, I would probably just die. I'd probably just have a heart attack in the moment, because I cannot imagine. So despite what the family's backgrounds are, good or bad, or who knows, we don't know, you still have to remember these are still humans who lost a child. So be respectful, people, please. Now, in this interview, we can tell that Steve is very upset because there's still no date to this trial. And he basically said a deal is not an option, and that's not a conversation they would even try with me. His words, not mine. He also said, I'm not here to compromise. So the vibe that I'm getting from Steve is that he wants revenge. He wants BK's head served on a plate, basically. So he wants justice. I mean, a father wants justice. Normal. Now, for me, true justice would mean that every stone goes unturned, that all avenues and potential suspects are explored, because then that means that the actual criminal is the one being punished. So, because somebody is currently sitting in jail, Brian Koberger, I feel like they are, at this moment, okay with him sitting there. They are no longer questioning, as he was before, is this the guy? Is this not the guy? He seems more assured. But you have to remember, these families are getting their information from the prosecution, not the defense. They're not seeing any of the evidence. So they are just taking in the bits of information that LE is throwing at them. And that does not mean that they are accurate. So I understand that at this point, they just want anybody to be found guilty, but at the same time, they have to be very careful what they wish for, because instant gratification will bite you in the ass, people. So what do I mean by instant gratification? I mean, yes, the parents want BK now in jail, his head unalived. Let's do it. Let's get this over with so we can finally start healing. But this instant gratification can bite them in the rear end, because remember, a lot of these parents still have children attending the university. And just imagine if the criminal is potentially still out there on the loose, imagining suffering through this all over again, now with your second or your third or your fourth or fifth child. Why? Because again, these parents still have children at these universities. So if the criminal is still out there, meanwhile, potentially innocent BK is sitting in jail. Again, we don't know. We don't know until we see all of the evidence. So the parents are suffering, but although it is difficult, they need to think long term. Is it better to suffer for an extended period of time and actually wait until all the evidence comes out and get the right person in jail? Or let's just jail this random incel, in quotes, incel, and get this over with. Again, I have not lost a child. I hope to never lose a child, but I would rather suffer for years and years and years and have no answers than to put an innocent man in jail. I want the right person to be punished, not some random person. I want the right person to suffer. That is justice, is it not? Let me know what you think. I think we all have different points of views, and the families are keeping track of what's going on. I am sure, maybe not actually, maybe they are not, but are they watching the hearings? Are they seeing all the nonsense that is taking place? Because if they are, then they should be asking questions, and then they should be wondering what is going on. Is BK even the guy? Why is the prosecution hiding so much information? So there's actually a lot of victim families who always side with the prosecution. Remember, that is who often gives them their information, the little bits of info that they are getting. It's the prosecution, right? Not the defense. So there have been several cases where the accused is later found to be innocent, and most families will actually never accept that because they would rather believe a lie that they have the right guy in jail. Again, even in cases where these people are found innocent later on, they're just like, nope, we're not open to believing anything else. We will go to the grave knowing that this other guy did it, although we have been told by everyone that they had the wrong guy, because that gives them some comfort, although it's not the truth. So one must wonder, will that take place here? I hope not. I hope the right person goes to jail. Now, I'm also trying to imagine if the criminal is still out there. Can you imagine how he feels? He's probably feeling like a god right now, invincible, feeling like he got away with it. So just the thought. Now, I also think that the family members of the victims think that BK is the guy because he doesn't have a witness. Now, the fact that he was alone makes him guilty in the eyes of many. Yeah, sad. Very sad, right? So basically what these people believe is that if you're single and if you live alone, you're guilty. Although I have been single in the past and I have lived alone in the past, and I used to drive for hours on end due to my insomnia in the past. So does that make me guilty? Because not all of us are social butterflies out with friends, or not all of us can have witnesses at all times. What if maybe you even have a partner, but you guys work separate shifts? Does that make you guilty? And what about Sleeping Jack's alibi? Sleeping Jack. Supposedly his friends were in the house, they were playing video games, but we know, and we've seen the pictures of Jack standing on the roof, and we know there was a window in his bedroom to the roof. So can they really, is that a real alibi? Because he could have technically left through his window, and the people playing video games in the living room could have no clue, right? So Jack's alibi cannot be confirmed. So why do we dismiss that? What about the roommate's alibi? So why did you go back to bed after poking your head out the door multiple times? Who can confirm that? What about Jack S. driving hours away by himself to a cabin far away, hours away? He left in the middle of the night. What was it, 2, 3, 4 in the morning? Is that not convenient? Who can confirm that? So why pick on Mr. Brian Kohberger's alibi? What's the difference? The only difference I can see is that one is an outsider. And we know Steve Goncalves has referred to outsiders and protecting people in the community from outsiders. What does he mean by that? I am not a mind reader, but I can guess. What do you think about that? Do you think that these families are in pain and that they just want BK convicted, whether he is guilty or not? Because that is the vibe that I'm getting from them. Again, I don't understand. I'm trying to understand what they are going through. But at the same time, if they want true justice, actual justice, and if they have been listening to these hearings, these live streams that are insane, that are complete shit shows, for lack of a better word, excuse my French, it's extremely frustrating. Have they been watching these? Do they have questions? Are they even thinking that maybe BK is not the guy? So just crazy stuff going on in the world. And I also have to wonder, a lot of you have said, how do we deal with this issue? How do we deal with this issue? I'm not going to tell you how to do this because I'm not going to get sued. I'm not going to get in trouble. I feel like a lot of you guys are trying to trap me. Figure it out. There are plenty of options, people, but I'm not going to be accused of telling you to do something. So figure it out. Now, I also wonder, should the prosecution be charged with obstruction of justice? Should they be charged with tampering with evidence? Because we know they removed audio from this video. And should they be charged for failure to release evidence in a timely manner, or if at all? Because we know Ann Taylor has yet to receive information to defend her client appropriately. Where is the stuff that she's asking for? Why are you guys shifting and tampering with videos? I think they should be charged. Now, it also makes me wonder if this is how the prosecution behaves when the entire world is watching through a live stream and they know that all eyes are on them, that we are keeping tabs on them. Well, it does make me wonder, how do they behave when nobody is watching? Can you imagine if this case, if these hearings were not being live streamed, the horrendous things that would probably take place behind the scenes. I don't want to even think about it. It sickens me. So it just appears that anyone can be easily framed, and even easier to do that when you have a corrupt system, when you have a judge who is biased, who is scared of the prosecution. Why are you scared of Bill? Why is Judge scared of Bill? He comes across as wanting to appease Bill for some reason. It's very strange. So if you watch that interview with Ashley Banfield and Mr. Steve Goncalves, let me know what you think about it. Again, I think it's extremely important to remain empathetic. These parents, these families are still in pain. So in their defense, they are not thinking straight. They're not. Why? Because when a person is thinking clearly, analytically, unemotionally, well, we always have emotion, but try to minimize emotion to think critically. You understand this might take a long time, but at the end of the day, the pain, the suffering of waiting is worth it, because you want the right person in jail. You want the right person to pay for the crimes they committed, for the lives of the children, the young people that were lost. So I'm hoping that eventually the parents understand this, that it sinks in, but it may not. So we'll have to keep an eye and see what comes out of this circus. And this is much larger than this case. This is obstruction of justice. This is the law, breaking the law. This is agencies abusing power. Triple letter agencies, the FBI. So yesterday when I gave you the CIA is the American Gestapo Harry Truman quote, I was not referring to the CIA being involved in this case. I am saying that the FBI, the NSA, the CIA, the DEA, they're all very similar to each other. How? They are extremely powerful and nobody is holding them accountable. So yes, this is much larger than the IDAHO4. That's it for the day. Let me know what you think of this video. If you would like to donate to Craig, the Cash App is in the description. I hope you guys have a beautiful weekend. And remember to take some time off for yourself and do something you love for yourself and for other people, because that keeps us going. Despite all the horrible trash that is in the world today, there's still a lot of positive things. So like this tea, enjoy the little things, guys. Or our conversations. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, leave me your weekend plans. What else? Leave me a heart. Oh, a rainbow, a sun, and a bird. I'm like an emoji freak, so yeah, I should go now. This conversation is devolving. You guys have a good day.